Buddy, welcome to the totally happening and far out ways soap opera party. It's me, Matt,
It's me, Kat.
and we are here. Not just me and my mama. Not like always. No, we have Julie Dove with us here, Days of Our Lives star. Julie Dove, who played Crazy Connie, and then also below me, hello there, Phideaux Xavier, a prolific, longtime daytime TV director. And this is special for two reasons. Number one, you're here. And number two, you are our only two-time guests on 10th Floor History.
Ooh,
So
cool.
welcome back.
Well, he's a guest from 10th floor, but Julie is a second-time guest too.
Yes, everybody's a second-time guest except for you and me. We're here all the time.
You're all time. You're all time.
Time. Well, I gather us all here today because we love soap operas, and it's been a historical week. Something happened that I don't think any of us really had on our radar until they started talking about it a long time ago. But but before then, we never thought it was going to happen. But Beyond the Gates debuted this week, and so I pulled together my mom. I pulled together a director and an actor to just talk about soap operas, the lay of the land, the lather of the union.
State of the Union on soap operas.
On soap operas. So you have been
Well, I consider myself to be a soap super fan.
a soap soup. Okay, all right,
That's why
perfect then. So you've been keeping up with your stories then.
Well, I try to keep up with my stories. Although, lately I've been watching old soap operas on YouTube. I've been enjoying watching the closing credits to see all the different people that have come and gone through.
So crazy.
Yeah. I mean, if only we had all of those hours and half hours of soap operas available to watch. I mean, it's
It'd be the greatest.
amazing.
I mean, I wish that one of the networks would go to the time and the expense to do that because it just, I don't know, it's like leaving something in the Smithsonian.
I think the expense is the key word.
Expense is definitely the key word. I know because I'm a big Star Trek fan and everybody loves HD sci-fi. And Paramount was not quiet about how expensive this was. Please buy it. So I can understand. Plus, also at the same time, soaps they're not all on tape. Like they were taped over. They were taped alive. Like we literally don't have everything that's ever been created.
Well, they pretty much started archiving them as of 1979. So, most shows actually did exist. I don't know what happened to the Procter and Gamble archive.
Right.
We stopped producing shows, but all the ABC shows, they're saved from 1979 and possibly even 1978 forward.
I always heard
If
that
I
all my
ever win the
children.
lottery, I'll invest my money in that for us.
Perfect.
I make that promise now live.
I mean, Oprah's got a plethora. Can't she just fund it?
She could. Now, Julie, what was your favorite soap opera when you were a youngin'?
I mean, a lot. I'm not even exaggerating when I say that I just kind of went down the rabbit hole of when my dad died. That was like my escapism. I was 13. I think we had 15 or 16 of them on the air. So my grandmother was and mother were pretty much ABC. So I was watching All My Children, One Life to Live, General Hospital, and then I dabbled in a little bit of Ryan's Hope with Roger and Delia.
Delia.
Delia. Oh yes.
Delia.
Delia, who happens to be Ava's mother.
She's
Yes.
David Jerome's mother
on
General
General
Hospital.
Hospital.
Yeah, and then I started watching Loving from when it launched, and
Oh,
then I fell in love with Bo Brady, as many of us did,
How
and
could
started
you
watching
not?
Days of Our Lives. And
well,
so I would say
wasn't
when I
it
was oh, go ahead, go
on at
ahead.
the same time as All My Children?
Yes, so VCR had to be purchased,
Mm.
which was what I did with my very first job I got. I was working for in my very small town, we had like one pharmacist, and I was his babysitter. He asked me if I wanted to start working there, and I started working there, and he right after I started working, he came and approached me about investing my money into like some type of stock market thing, which I still know nothing about. And I was like, oh no, I'm gonna buy a VCR to record my soap operas. And I remember he made me feel like ashamed of that. And my therapist recently told me she feels like it's impacted me in my self-judgment my whole life because clearly I was right investing in this VCR.
It worked out for you.
I told my parents, you have two choices. A, I no longer go to school after 12:30, or B, you buy me a VCR.
I love that ultimatum.
And
But
that
yeah,
was
so
I
yeah.
could watch The Doctors, Days of Our Lives, and Another World.
Now,
Okay.
and I watched Another World too. So I would say all of the ABC, Days of Our Lives, Another World, I watched a lot. I dabbled a tiny bit in As the World Turns for Steve and Betsy, and then a little bit more for Lily Holden,
Yeah.
and Justin. And then I watched a tiny bit of Beth and Lou Jack on Guiding Light. I mean, I was just buying soap opera digest every week and just reading and trying to keep up.
Gosh,
And
could get
I
Vincent
mean,
Irizarry on here again.
Jenny and Greg
Right?
on All My
I
Children.
was an intern on Guiding Light when Lou Jack was introduced. And I remember talking to Vincent in the Xerox room right as he was in his first like month as Lou Jack.
Oh my God.
And then I later worked, and then he came back then I got a job on Guiding Light, and he came back as the character of Nick.
Oh, I
He
didn't
was
know that about his
Lou
Guiding Light
Jack's
tenure.
identical twin brother
Of course
that
he did.
that Alexandra didn't know she had.
Classic.
And then I worked, and at that time, Alexandra was played by this woman, Marge Doucet, and Vincent Irizarry was her son, Nick, on Guiding Light. And then he left and went to All My Children as Dr. David.
Dr. David Hayward.
And Marge Doucet went and played his mother, and I worked with them on All My Children. And then I later worked with him when he was on The Young and the Restless as Melody Thomas Scott's love interest. So I've worked with Vincent many, many times. He's a
Okay, here's my
sweet
Vincent connection. One of my day jobs is I edit acting reels. I edit Vincent's acting reels.
That's fabulous.
Wow, Mom, you're right. I should have invited him to be on this
And
thing
then
with us.
I said to Matt yesterday, should we invite Vincent tomorrow? He's
we were at this, I was invited to the yesterday's fan event of people that have been on days before because my character was sent off to Bayview right before the annual fan event. And Vincent was so impressed that I'd moved up from fan and editor to recurring cast member on the show. So now we're like, we were always peers as actors, but now we're days peers too. Now, here's an All My Children thing I bring up that nobody ever remembers, but I grew up outside of Dallas, and so we got lots of soap opera people in person. So I met Christian Alfonso, I met Stephen Nichols, but I went to the Preston the North Park Mall on Prestonwood Lane in Dallas, and so Tad and Hillary, they married in front of all of us again, and we all stood in line and had wedding cake. Now, I talked to so many people that like I don't remember Hillary. Do you remember Hillary?
Hillary on All My Children? I remember Dixie, but was she before or after Dixie?
She was like his first like legit nice person that he fell in love with.
After Liza was trying to
Yes,
get
after
with him?
Liza. Yes.
yes.
My mama
So
remembers.
it was
I
after the
remember
Greg
Hillary,
and
yes.
Jenny era.
Yes. Yes. I think
Wow.
Jenny had died. Jenny had
And
gone-
Hillary was a good girl, a good girl. And of course, Tad, he was the cad.
Do you remember who played her?
I'm gonna Google it right now because
Okay.
that's the beauty of the
Research
internet.
department is on it.
Bye, everyone.
Moderator Chandra out there in Chatland says she remembers Hillary. There's a number
Thank
of people
you.
out there.
Thank
Yeah.
Hillary had,
Carmen Thomas was her name. Carmen
Okay.
Thomas.
she had beautiful, big eyes and dark
Beautiful.
curly hair.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Okay. We got to reach out to her because Phideaux wants to meet her.
Oh, okay. Now I see.
I have pictures
Hey.
of them like standing there waving to us and
They were on the cover of Soap Opera Digest. That's how that's the only
Okay. All right. Oh man, All My Children is so close to my heart. It's the soap that I fell in love with first.
Really?
As a very small child, I was like 4 or something.
What
And
was the first thing you remember about it?
very first thing I remember about it is Natalie being in the well. Janet from another planet, her evil twin sister, threw Natalie in a well on the property of Wildwind Manor.
And that
Yes.
was before Robin Matson took over the role of Janet?
I think, no,
Yes.
it wasn't Robin Madsen. It was someone else. But I was so totally drawn into the story as a little squirt for some reason, and from what Mom explains, and I have vague memories of me being like hearing the music and like
Were
being
you
into it.
frightened that she was caught in the well?
I'm not sure. Was I more fascinated or
You
frightened?
were more fascinated. You were very concerned about her well-being.
Okay, I cared.
That Dimitri needed to get out there and give her some water and a sandwich.
Right. Well, Dimitri did eventually, and that was the big debut of Dimitri, and
Dimitri.
yeah. And I do have a memory of her being rescued, and I don't know if it's a false memory that I've just convinced is real, or if it is actually what happened on the show. So bear with me, chat. Let me know if I'm way wrong. But I feel like he was silhouetted, leaning over the top of the well and shouting down, "Hello, is somebody in there?" You couldn't hear him, but you could hear his voice, and everybody knew his voice from that other show he was on.
Yes.
Dynasty.
Was it
Yes.
Dynasty? See, I don't know anything. So
Dynasty.
so I that's how I remember it ending. So tell me if I'm wrong. But that's my earliest soap memory, and from then on, I've always had such a passion for all my children.
My first soap memory was also All My Children.
Okay.
I accidentally turned the channel when I was young, and I remember seeing Peter Bergman playing Cliff Warner
Of course.
and hearing these very boring sounds in a hospital of Dr. So-and-so, call 311. And it was so boring that I said to myself, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. I never want to ever see a soap opera ever again. And I just thought whenever a soap opera came on, I just thought of those horrible bings and bongs, the hospital sounds.
How old were you?
I was probably like 10 or 9 or something.
Well, what changed it for you? What was that moment that flipped it?
Well, one day I wanted to watch the 4 o'clock movie, which was Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
And I came to the television 10 minutes early and I turned on NBC, and there was this girl dragging Ray Liotta, the actor Ray Liotta, into the back of a van because she was trying to set it up so that his girlfriend would come and see them in the van and she would pretend that she was making out with them. And
Classic.
yeah. And of course the girlfriend came up, it was like, will she see them? Will she not see them? And then the Planet of the Apes happened. And the next day I happened to be home. It was during the summer. And I was like, I wonder what happened on that soap opera. So I turned it on and I saw what happened. And then there was this actress named Beverly McKinsey who was playing a character called Iris.
Okay.
And Iris was sort of the vixen, kind of the type of character that they would then develop Joan Collins into on Dynasty. And she was so amazing that I started getting interested in the story of her on the show. And then I didn't watch it the next day, and I kind of was like, oh, I wonder what happened. So I watched it the day after, and a lot had happened. Now, I will tell you, at that time, the show Another World was 90 minutes long.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
It was 90 minutes every day from 2:30 until 4.
Holy
Wow, I don't remember
smokes.
that.
I had
I
no
don't
idea
remember
that they.
anything.
I didn't know
9
that.
months of that they did. And then they spun off a show called Texas.
Interesting. Yeah,
do
I had no
remember.
idea. I didn't know
Ken
any
went
of
to
them were
work
longer
on
than
Texas, didn't he?
Who?
Ken Schreiner went to work on Texas, didn't
He
he?
did. He played Jeb.
that.
Because
There you
that
go.
was at the peak of Dallas in prime time, is why they did that, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense. We're gonna spin it off in daytime. We're gonna do what they did.
Like to Live had just introduced the Buchanans as well.
Yes.
That makes sense too. Yeah.
Okay.
It's so strange how I can't sometimes remember what I walked into the kitchen for, but there's like probably 10 or 12 things that happened in 5 or 6 different soap operas that I remember like they happened yesterday.
It's wild.
And so you were on Days recently, and you
Yeah,
played-
I finished the arc. I was a day player. I came in and did a scene, and then it got cut, and then like a year later they wrote that day player back in, and then they wrote it back in. I did like 3 or 4 little one-offs, and then they brought me back for like a arc as a
and
killer.
it was a shock when you were revealed to be the killer.
I think it was a shock. It was a shock to me, and I'm pretty sure it was a shock to everyone.
Well, it was a shock from our point of view too, because the character Li Shin that she had ultimately offed on the show, he had two other culprits before it was Julie's character, Connie.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely a surprise that yet again we have a new killer for Lee, but this one stuck around. This one seems to be the final choice.
And the audience knew it was Connie for a long time before the rest of the characters. You know, they let the audience know
Yeah.
ahead of
Some
time.
people loved it, and so, most people, I would say, overall, the feedback has been amazing. It's funny, after I left, the feedback when it first started happening was like, "Oh, why did they let this day player move up?" And it was a big test of my own self strength getting through that. But it's been a great ride.
You can't read the comments.
Well, I learned that, and I knew it going in. But I'd been following the hashtag days on Twitter as like my relaxing thing to get away from politics. And so I had not turned it off like after my first episode started. And so some things popped up and I was just like, oh my God, I thought that was like my fellow Days fan friend. So I had to kind of like, that became not my relaxing thing.
Yeah.
So,
How did you feel working on the show that you had grown up loving?
I mean, it was incredible. It was scary but exciting, and I honestly, Matt and Kat know this, but like it took me like 2 weeks to speak to Stephen and Mary Beth because I had I'd written Mary Beth a fan letter growing up, and she had written me back, and I went to meet Stephen in Dallas, and I said, hey, I've been here a couple of weeks. It was right before Christmas, and I said, I want, and we've said hi, but I really wanted to introduce myself and tell you what an inspiration you've been to me. So. And then Christian Alfonso worked on the show once when I was there, and I didn't even talk to her. I was just so afraid. And she was in and out for a quick thing. And I went and met her when I was a kid. And even though I was like a crazy tomboy, I thought I was going to grow up and be Hope Brady instead of the lovely character actress that I am. But I was waiting it was like at lunch, and I was waiting in wardrobe where you can get like little safety pins or whatever. And she came in and she goes, "Oh, do you know if they're here?" And I go, "I think they're at lunch, but you can go before me." That was my conversation with Kristen Alfonso. I don't even know if she knew I was an actress.
So I worked on Days once, and the thing that was exciting to me was the drawings on the big doors.
Yes,
The
yes.
Laugh-In, the sort of Tonight
Yes.
Show. There's these great illustrations
It's
on
amazing.
the open doors to one of the studios. There are two studios.
Yeah, it's Studio A.
Get into detail on this because we haven't been lucky enough to go onto the Days set. We visited GH twice, so we know what that's like and laid out like.
I went once
clue.
to the Days set, and I worked, and it was a wonderful day. Someone was sick, and they
tours at the
invited
Days
me
set?
to take over.
I don't think so.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I love those
something we
doors.
can do, isn't
I didn't get to take as many pictures as I wanted because it's like we're working. But on the last day, I did take some pictures, and I
You gotta
made
get like
the
spy
on-set
glasses. You gotta get spy glasses and just record the whole day.
On the last day, I made sure that I had talked to Jill Johnson, the photographer, in advance, and she took a really nice picture of me in the Brady pub, and it's like one of my most
Oh, that's
treasured
real
moments.
cool.
So great.
That's awesome. Oh man.
And being so far ahead, you had to wait like 6 months
God.
before your reveal.
So far ahead.
Mom and I talk about it on a regular basis. How Julie could have done a whole second arc by now, and she just can't tell us.
Yes, we have talked. Maybe she's just being secretive and she can't tell us.
She just can't tell us.
People escape from those mental hospitals all the time.
I said we need Beyond Salem Bayview. We need a 5-day.
Oh my God,
thing of all
I
the
just-
people that have been sent to Bayview.
I've always thought that little like 10-minute bite-sized soap episodes exclusively on Hulu or something like that would be really interesting to focus like on the General Hospital side, for example, just to do 5 10-minute episodes about something that Jordan Ashford was up to that didn't make it to the main show, I think would be really interesting, not only for the actors, but also creative for the people behind the scenes to pull that off, but really fun for the audience as well.
That would be fun.
I don't know how to make that happen because I'm not involved, but
We'll add that to my if I win the lottery list.
I love it. I love it. You're just going to open up a studio at that point.
We should open a studio.
Yeah. So it's our historical week, folks. Historical week.
So historical.
We never thought it was going to happen, and it happened.
5 soap
5
operas.
soaps. We are expanding. We are not contracting.
Oh my
Yay
gosh.
for
I'm
soap
so
operas.
hoping that there'll be maybe a 6th and a 7th as well, because the Gates has done so well. Oh my goodness.
Open up the floodgates for more.
Ah,
Please,
Right.
please, 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 please. Now, our good friend Phideaux, you happen to know a thing or two about. Hey, look at that! You got a thing,
nice.
and I was there. Premiere card. Oh, that's really
that's
cool.
cool.
Cast and crew
Amazing.
screening. So you were lucky enough to do a little bit of work for them. So awesome for
I
that.
was. I got to hang on for 1
Congratulations.
second.
Oh, he's oh well, that's it. I drove him away.
I have to, while we have a tiny break, I'll say my dog is here and I may have to stop her from interrupting us. So if I'm
enough.
like this, I'm not
It's all
going, I'm
good.
not going
It's all good.
crazy. I'm taking care of my dog.
Holy
Look at these
smokes!
I've done this much work for them.
Oh wow, that is
Ah.
so much more than I thought.
I'm so excited they have paper scripts. Days of Our Lives is paperless.
Are they?
Well, we have paper scripts. For you send it in on a tablet, and then you
Oh, you print
know,
out. Okay, gotcha.
you print it out for the day when all the
Yeah, okay.
you have to fight with the actors about what they want to do and be like, no, you're standing here. No, you can't
No,
say
no.
that. You have to say it this way.
My character would stand over on this side. How do you know? We've been doing this for 3 days.
Exactly. I always say to the actors, like, oh, you can, yeah, that's fine. But if it's a party scene with 17 people, you're standing next to your worst enemy if that's the way it needs to be.
Oh my gosh. All I know is Danny has now slapped the taste out of 2 people's mouth.
Oh
Yes.
man. So I mean, this show really did just shoot off like a cannon when it comes to.
Dupree.
That's such a name
I mean,
too.
I just want to say, just watching it is money is being spent, and I love to see it.
Mm.
When, like, we had 3 actors with under 5 lines in the first 10 minutes, I was like, whoa, what is happening? A waiter said, can I get you a drink, or here's your drink? And the desk guy spoke, and the dining room at the country club was full of people. I was just like, wow.
I have to say
it's
that I
amazing.
noticed that too, and the show just feels so alive because of it. It's something that I compare to, because I've been watching some old Days of Our Lives. I called it Olden Days, back from '85. It's the introduction of Victor Kiriakis.
Yeah.
And there's background, there's extras, there's ambiance, that there's licensed music. There are day players who have lines and such like that.
And the gates opened with licensed music. The opening
Exactly.
moment with licensed music.
And it was-
I know.
I was like, oh, they got the money. They got the money.
It was so awesome, so awesome to see and experience, and it just felt so right. And I also enjoy, from my perspective, me watching just the opening moments of this with the licensed music and following the car into the country club. I feel like there was a transition from how it was shot, and I think you did it, Phideaux. So maybe you can tell me.
I didn't do the first one. No.
No. Okay, somebody did it, but there felt like there was a bit of transition from like, hey, here's something that you expect it to look like, quote unquote, when it comes to a modern way of shooting something very cinematic. And then when we got into the country club itself, it transitioned into soap, where there was the stationary camera, with the addition of the roaming one as well.
The roaming camera was quite impressive.
Like,
Yeah, no.
wow, just so interesting stylistically off the jump. And it still felt like daytime TV at the same time too. So just what a feat.
Well, and I just want to add for the record here, the soaps that we have now, the other 4, I don't want to say the original 4, the OG ones that are on, they're doing the best they can with what they have. So
Oh, yeah.
when we're talking about how Beyond the Gates has money, it's not to criticize the others, because trust me, they want that money too.
Oh, yeah.
It's just you work with what you get. So, but it's so nice to see just a plentiful bounty given to Beyond the Gates to
And you
make-
see it in every aspect of the show.
Every
You see it from the sets to wardrobe to everything. You see
To
it
who
every
they've hired as directing team.
Yes.
The wardrobe.
The wardrobe
and
is
the
ooh,
makeup and the hair are so
Oh,
beautiful.
gosh.
I mean, I think one of the stars of the show is going to be the sets and the costumes. I mean, the actors are incredible and beautiful and
Yeah.
talented, so talented.
I see daytime Emmys.
but they just look,
Yeah, it reminds me. I just got a really good Dynasty feel, which I loved.
Has to be
Um,
intentional, right?
yeah,
To a
I mean,
degree.
I hope so. I loved
That's
it.
what I thought from seeing a trailer, Julie. From
Yeah,
seeing a trailer, I thought Dynasty. There's Dynasty.
yeah.
And
Yep.
the show shot out like a cannon when it comes to plot too. Like they jumped into the deep end when it came to like we're in sweeps already when it comes to where we are in these people's drama.
And
Our
even
central characters are wealthy, versus like most of the other soaps always have a wealthy family, but there's also like an immediate focus on the hardworking
The blue collar
working
ones.
class. And we haven't really got too into that yet. And we got a little Friday
a
about
little bit.
a little
What?
bit.
little bit on
The
Friday.
Not
haves
nearly
and
as
the
nice.
have-nots.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
All right, all right. Pay attention to those have-nots. Pay
I'm
attention. Keep your eyes
forward to
peeled.
that.
Oh gosh, it's just it. Oh my god. I can't even really express into words like how I feel after it because there's been so much buildup and so much talk and so much hype, and then now it's real. Now it's really, really, really happening, and it's on, and it's not going to stop, and it's going to keep going, and we're going to be introduced to everything that Michelle is it Valjean? Jean? I don't know how to
Yeah,
pronounce it
I think
correctly.
it's Valjean, but
Valjean.
I hear people call her Valjean.
Okay,
as
well, whatever Michelle had been
Michelle.
cooking up for so
Michelle.
long, and because she has been working on this mentally and physically for so long now, I just feel like there's going to be such careful consideration of the choices being made, and just depth and longevity, and it doesn't seem like the show's going to be flying off the seat of their pants week after week figuring out what we're going to do next. And I'm just so excited for it creatively as a viewer. I'm excited
It's
to
my
watch the creative process.
Yeah, it's
And
my
it's
understanding the creative process is back to like a normal old school pace or a happy medium between much time it used to take to film versus what
Oh,
other
is it one and done, Fido?
I mean, we are working with a new crew, and we're trying to get up to speed to the pace that we're going to need to go on to get one episode a day, and that's always a startup when a new show begins. There's always a learning curve. We're working with very talented people who are used to, I think, working at a slower pace where they don't have to do as much, and we're trying to slam them with our soap opera velocity.
Yes.
A lot of soap opera, many of the actors have done soaps before, some have not. So I think they're surprised. But yeah, it's all interesting when you're building up to the launch of a show, and you're like, oh, when will we watch episode 1? But then it's like, and then episode 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and they all come now a day up after each other.
Right.
And
And
I
we
think
already know we have a big secret too. There's already a big
goodness.
secret already.
Oh, of
I
course.
mean, I have theories on The Secret. Are we talking about that stuff yet? Or I think am I allowed to say my thoughts on that?
Well, hold off just 1 second because we gotta
Okay,
finish
I'm
where
like dying to know what
Fido
you
was on a
think about.
train. So basically, you're picking up the pace. So basically, now these inexperienced crew members are going to see, oh my God, this thing really is on 5 days a week. I need to hurry my butt up because I'm going to run out of time and episodes if we don't
we
finish
started in November, so
this. Okay.
it's been
So this-
I just directed episode 61 the other day. So.
Okay. All right. But that's the 61. That's what, 2 months, 3 months of
Yeah. So
show.
how far?
So-
It's not like super far ahead though. So 3 months.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, it will get less far ahead because we built up into it,
Yeah.
so that we would be able to take our time with the first week,
Yeah.
and
That makes a lot of
Days
sense.
of Our Lives right now is shooting next November. That's how far ahead it is.
Gosh, they got to slow down.
they got picked up for 2 more years, I hear.
Again?
I heard that yesterday too.
Oh, hey, congratulations,
didn't
Days of
hear
Our
that.
Lives. Once
Oh,
again,
yeah.
another
Thanks a lot.
2-year renewal. That's
I love
awesome.
that.
I love the idea of Days being comfortable in the fact that they have 24 months of stories to tell, because that allows them to plan for 24 months of things, and they don't I don't want to be too critical because, these are your friends and colleagues. But sometimes things are just too clippy and just they don't make sense sometimes because it's so fast and you got to pump it out. I like the
When I was
idea
a
of
kid,
having that time. Mm-hmm.
I thought that all the storylines were going to make sense. I thought
that too.
I thought they knew what the secrets were ahead of time and that they had planned out the shocking things.
No, they just wrote it like Lost.
But having worked for many years in this genre, and writers come and writers go, and networks say no, we don't want to do that story, and suddenly things change. So that's why it's so wonderful to work on a show that has a very solid storyline.
Yeah.
And I think a fresh and fun approach.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it has been fresh and it has been fun. I think that's a great way of putting it, as classically worded as it is.
I mean, I don't mean this in a negative way, but I love all the soap operas I've ever watched, and I love the fact that we've got characters on there who have been on for 32 years.
Oh yeah.
But then if a person comes to a show from the outside and they see people that have been on for 40 years, it's a different thing than a fresh cast of people that you've never seen before. You're learning all these things about them.
Everybody's getting to know them for the first time.
Yeah.
And we haven't had that in forever. People are not used to it anymore.
25 years.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't watch. I've never watched Bold and the Beautiful. I actually did some background work on it, but I haven't watched that. But I did watch Loving and Santa Barbara launch, and watched them both for about 4 or 5 years.
Right. Well, I worked on Sunset Beach when it began.
Oh, okay.
And then I joined Passions about 3 months after it began.
Okay.
I've never seen Passions. I mean, I've seen some clips on YouTube. I mean, I know the premise.
That was a wonderful show to work on. I also worked on an MTV soap opera called Spider Games, which was only on for 13 weeks.
Oh, great.
Oh, wow.
Okay, wonderful.
And that was a great show.
Yeah.
Very fun show. A murder mystery, really. And you find out in the last episode who the killers were.
Is that like on YouTube or
I think
something?
all of Spider Games, it's about a gaming company. And it had a lot of daytime people were on it.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, there's an episode with Epiphany from General Hospital is on it. She's not
Sonia Eddy.
playing Epiphany.
Yeah.
They also had, so there were a lot of daytime people on it. We did it at KTLA in LA. Regular soap opera. The idea, it was for MTV. The idea was that it could be an ongoing thing, but then there was a shift in MTV towards more reality.
Got it. We're just going to go with that real world thing. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to go with MTV.
MTV. It used to be such a thing.
Used to be music, television.
I didn't know, Phideaux, I didn't know that you had so much experience working on new soaps. Wow. It's kind of almost a regular thing of your career.
I started on the oldest soap. Actually, I was a student on Another World, but then I was a student intern at Guiding Light and ended up working at Guiding Light for 10 years.
That's amazing.
Sort of like the ancient, grandmother of all soaps.
Man, I've never worked anywhere for 10 years. I would love to. This has been my longest job, podcasting with my mom. Oh my gosh. So, Spider Games and such, it made me think of like deep cut soap appearances, like your actors showing up on things that you didn't expect, whether it be a national TV commercial where I'm not a doctor, I just play one on TV, or anything else. Do you guys have like any favorite like deep cut? I don't even know if deep cut is the right thing, but like projects outside of soap operas of your favorite soap actors. Anything come to mind? Just make me think randomly, like, because soaps are.
I hope that Demi Moore wins an Oscar tonight.
Yeah, right.
It's so good. My God, she's come a long way since Jackie Templeton.
That is true. That is very,
Her
very
husky
true.
voice.
Oh my
God,
God.
yes.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I
I was
absolutely love
watching back then when Jackie was on there. Absolutely, yeah.
I've watched Columbo from beginning to end, and it's fun to like see some old timers pop up in there. And
Hmm.
or OG, maybe that sounds better, but I'm an old timer.
Well, remember when Bo was on Knots Landing?
Yes, yes. And then Jeannie Francis pops up in Murder She Wrote several times. I think she's Jessica's niece. So
Oh,
I
that's
just
neat.
started watching one of her nieces. So if you want to find some soap opera deep cuts, if you go back and watch the primetime shows that were happening on
Love Boat. Everybody's been on Love Boat.
And
Love
Robin
Boat.
Matson was on Charlie's Angels.
Oh, that's fun. My favorite one, the one that comes to mind when I think about it, is actually Jonathan Frakes and Jeannie Francis being on Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman.
Oh,
that one,
Really?
that one's great. That one is great. They're just over the top cheesy villains, just being in the way of Superman and Lois. It's
Well, what about
so enjoyable.
when Roseanne came to General Hospital in a dream sequence and Tony Geary and Jeannie Francis were on Roseanne?
I do
Yes,
remember
I
them being on
remember that.
Roseanne.
oh, I vaguely remember that. Now I love the whole Dr. Drake Ramore and when Christian Alfonso and everyone was on Friends. I mean, that's
Ah, yes.
newer, but I mean, that was
That's a
kind of
good one.
recurring. Like he had the party, and I think Matthew Ashford was even, he had the party on the rooftop. Uh,
Hmm.
and then I think Matthew Ashford was even in that episode. And yeah.
Well, my to do the opposite, I haven't seen any of it, but I've heard that on Days of Our Lives they have a soap opera, and
Oh yes.
the actors from Days of Our Lives play characters on the soap opera.
Well,
just
it
wrap that up.
ended now, and I thought the storyline was funny. It was a very controversial storyline, very polarizing storyline with the fans, I should say.
See, it's even hard for me to say and agree to that statement to a degree because our biggest outlet is social media, especially Twitter, and nobody's ever happy with anything on that platform.
Enjoyed it immensely.
I enjoyed the inside jokes. I enjoyed the fun that the writers and actors were having with it.
Well, some people thought it was like criticizing the fans when they would talk about the fans and stuff, but I just took it as in jest. I mean, it's like
They said
you know,
stay off of soap Twitter. That's real. That's real.
I know, and like, but that's what I'm saying. Some people are like, oh, are they trying to say that we're mean? Well, I mean, like, well,
Yes.
No.
Yes, that is what
if
they're
the
saying.
shoe fits.
Oh gosh.
No,
And
I thought it was fun, and I loved when they talked about the soap trades and stuff. Oh, it was great. I thought it was funny.
What they did, they had one of the characters, Leo Stark, as played by Greg Rickert. He was the writer, the lead writer for Home and Heart, the soap within the soap, and his plot lines. Body and
Heart and
Soul.
Soul.
I'm sorry.
Body and
Body and Soul is the General Hospital. I'm sorry.
Home and Heart is the
General
is the-
Hospital thing.
is
Body
the-
and Soul is the soap opera on
is
Days
the
of Our Lives.
is the shopping network. on
You're right.
General.
You're right.
Yeah.
Body and Soul, just a soap opera on Days of Our Lives. But he would write like Days of Our Lives plot lines as the soap plots, which is essentially these characters' histories. But nobody seemed to notice that he was just stealing the town's history to work into the soap opera, and that to me was one of like the most subtly funny parts of the entire thing.
Funny, and then when he was coming up with ideas, he'd be like, "What if I did this? You know, so and so is so and so's cousin." He'd go, "Oh, no one would believe that," and that was something that didn't happen on Days of Our Lives. Which I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious. But I have a comedy background, and I like a little comedy in my soaps. Opal Gardner and Phoebe Waller-Bridge are two of my OG
Oh my
favorite
gosh,
characters
Opal.
from All My Children.
Oh, such memories.
Opal was
Oh
so
no, Opal, so wonderful.
And Billy
Which
Gladstone.
Opal?
I mean, I know he's a bad guy, but he was comedic.
What was that, Fido?
Which Opal did you like the most?
Oh, see, I only know Opal number 2.
I only know, I believe, Opal number 1, that Dorothy Lyman.
Dorothy Lyman, yeah.
yeah. And the second one is
From Mama's
Jill Larson.
Family.
Jill Larson. Jill Larson was great. Fabulous. Love it, love it, love it. But Dorothy Lyman was just
Something
so
else.
amazing.
Yeah.
And she had played a boring architect on Another World 2 years before that.
Just
And
let herself
I
free.
loved her on Another World. So when I saw her go to All My Children, I was a little tempted to jump ship and watch All My Children.
And Calliope on Days of Our Lives is like one of my like absolute
I
all-time
mean,
favorites. So
right? There's
Totally,
there's nobody like Arlene Sorkin.
I was very sad when people were comparing my character to Connie's character to Calliope when I come back for a few episodes that had aired because I knew that I was turning into a killer. And so I couldn't be like, yes, she's like Cliffy.
Yeah, absolutely. Just think of me in a clown
But
costume.
she definitely is an inspiration for the comedy of Connie for sure.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, I think we've got a lot of comedy filtered through Beyond the Gates as well.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I really enjoy soap comedy. Like,
I mean, it's all very serious,
I do too.
but
but
there,
it's also funny.
the character of Danny has
Oh, yeah.
a lot of levels that are quite fun, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
I
right.
can see that. And with her friend that's going to be played by Katie. I'm so, what is the character's name that Katie's playing?
Pamela.
Pamela. I can tell that Pamela's going to have some comic relief when she was like, first, we're going to get a drink.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
you know, it's funny when people are like, oh, I don't want comedy in there. I'm like, but that's life. Like, life is full of like drama and laughter and trying to use humor to get through the drama, you know?
I don't.
Well, that's why, people, when I talk about directing on a soap opera, every day is a new genre. One day it's a
Yeah.
shootout. The next day it's like a car goes over the cliff.
Yeah.
Then you have a romance novel. Then you have like
great.
teen killer slasher. Then you have, there's so many different genres happening all the time.
I think so. I totally think so. Yeah.
I find on the Gates, who I think as an actor who has impressed me the most so far is one of Danny's daughters.
Which one?
Ooh.
Oh, well,
What's
I've
their
got
names?
there's Chelsea and there's Naomi.
Okay, Naomi.
She's the lawyer.
Yeah, the one that with her dad shot her out in the park. Bill found her out in the park to make her talk to him.
Yeah.
I thought that she was just so convincing. I liked her a lot. I thought she was so convincing and so natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You love to see it. You love to see it because there's nothing like a comfortable actor on a soap. Because they can really, really bring it when they're not thinking too much about what they're doing or how they look or if this is too stupid for daytime.
I mean, everyone looks
I
like
love
they're
it.
relaxed and having fun
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah. It really allows everybody to bring out the magic, and you can feel the enjoyment that everybody's having behind the scenes when it's able to come out in the edit.
And didn't you feel that, like, the minute you started watching it, that the characters knew who they were?
Oh, totally.
Oh, absolutely.
Totally.
Like,
Absolutely.
it just,
We were dropping in their lives.
it
Yeah.
just was, it's just, and now we're watching this, and it just,
That was one.
I
That was
believed in it.
one of the things that I was thinking about the most leading up into the debut of the show was how was it going to feel? Was this going to feel like they're figuring it out at the same time as us, or is there going to be how accessibly easy is this going to be for me as a viewer to just jump right in? And it really was. It was so easy to know who the people were, what they were about, who was going to be a problem, who wasn't going to be a problem, and who might be a surprise down the line. Like, expertly pulled off.
The father, Clifton Davis, he can convince anybody to swallow their own tongue, and they would happily do it.
Oh my God. When are we going to get to talk about our theories? and
Okay,
spoilers?
right now, Julie, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, because we got
Okay,
15
someone in
minutes
this
before
Dupree
Fido
family
needs to
has
leave.
killed someone. Someone in the Dupree family has killed someone or hit a murder or something. I'm just like, that was all I was thinking throughout all of Friday's episode is because didn't what is the bad guy's name? Hold on, Bill. Didn't Bill say something like, "Would it kill you to be nice?" or something? I mean, he like actually used the word "kill" in something he said when he was talking to one of the other children, about how they needed to be like working with him. I was like, oh my God, like, because I mean, he's got something so bad on them to make them all come to that way.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm like, what is the dirt? That
I
is
know.
serious dirt. That
See,
is
Fido
serious.
doesn't know. He didn't get to read the scripts. He only gets to read the ones that he directs. He doesn't know.
Well, and then we already have like a extra child of the family that's been like cut out, right? That's how we ended on Friday too, correct?
Yeah. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff
Now,
developing
what-
every single day after day after day of this show. It was funny because I've been watching some of the response online of people, and they're like,
Ooh,
"Wow,
how is it?"
It's positive. People are really enjoying it because They're going to start, and we'll see what it's like in 3 months.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I noticed that people comment on the most is like, wow, we're being introduced to a new character. Wow, another new set. This show is really going up. My first thought was, yes, they do have a lot of characters and a lot of sets, and it's wonderful to see. But also, it's been on for 4 days. Of course, you're meeting brand new people and
We're going to be meeting new people for a while. I heard there were 27 sets. Is that correct?
27 sets. I wonder.
I thought that was like a stat in the little Entertainment Tonight thing they did. I mean,
it could be. It could be. You know, I mean, to me, it's all a blur.
You didn't count them.
I can relate to that.
On them, you know. But they're, you know, the sets are beautiful. I mean, there are a lot of sets, but I think it's probably similar to other shows. Maybe there's a few more, you know.
It's going to be the core. I mean, you can kind of tell what the core sets are going to be. What I love the
Club
country
for sure.
club.
I mean, the country club. I mean, that was so like.
I love the country
They spent
club.
so much time on that because it's gonna.
Taken down.
I mean, I think a country club just says so many things about so many people. You know,
It does. It does.
know?
It does. I like the affluence that's there because, of course, there's rich people on soaps and such, but we haven't had like the rich corner of town since All My Children. Like All My Children was about the socialites in Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah.
Right, like everyone goes to they go and have parties at the nurses' station at General Hospital. Like
yeah.
any old person can wander in. You don't have
Yeah.
Yeah.
no one's signing in to see, you know, to a visitor pass.
Yeah.
You know,
But I already am like, oh, I hope we get to know something about some of the people that work at the country club. Like, there's got to be something that's going to be developed
Well,
there.
maybe these background actors aren't background after all, and they're emerging characters that we have yet to learn about.
I mean, I can't wait to meet. I mean, I think with Leslie and Eva, we've already met two very interesting characters. But like, who didn't get in the country club, and why didn't they get in it?
Oh, plot
well,
upon
that's an
plot.
interesting thing. Keep that thought alive.
Okay.
I can't
All
wait.
right. All right. We're going to see a little bit more about the have-nots then maybe down the line, everybody.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
There are gates, you know.
There's
Not everyone can get beyond the gate.
Did you
Oh,
see the
Matthew, our
SNL?
title's perfect. Our title's perfect.
It really
Yeah.
is. It really is.
That
And
was
well, do you know if it became Beyond the Gates later? Because at first people were like, "Oh, this new show, The Gates," and then it was revealed, "Oh no, this show is called Beyond the Gates." Do you know if it changed at some point?
Well, there have been other shows called The Gates. I think
Okay.
there have been recent shows called The Gates. If I'm not mistaken, I think there was one on Netflix or something 4 years ago or something.
Okay.
So
Okay,
that may be.
makes sense. It
So
makes
that
sense.
that is what kind of evolved the title into Beyond the Gates.
Yeah, I mean,
I like Beyond the Gates. It's a little more mysterious.
I like it too.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think Beyond the Gates is better than Behind the Gates.
That's true too. It definitely has a different connotation. Behind the gates.
Right.
Well, the chat is absolutely in love with Beyond the Gates as a show and everything that we've loved about it so far too. They're totally on board with when it comes to Julie's theories turning out to be true or any other secrets, whether or not we're going to see a bunch of red herrings along the way until a true secret is revealed. That's something
What's
that I would
going
like.
on with Bradley and
know?
Martin? What is that? I mean,
Have to protect Martin.
They say the country club is so lush. The set and the wardrobe and their hair are just so beautiful.
The hair,
the hair.
gorgeous.
I've been worried about my hair this whole thing, and we keep talking about hair. I mean, good hair. It's such a thing. It is such a thing.
It is a thing. It's true.
It says so
Been on a
much.
soap previously.
Who has been?
Clifton Davis. Has he been on a soap previously?
I don't think Clifton has done a soap before.
I do remember him from television. He has quite a history.
Yeah.
But I don't remember him ever being on a soap. But I thought maybe he had, and I just wasn't aware.
No, I don't think so. But didn't Tamara guest on Days of Our Lives for a couple of episodes a couple of years ago? I thought she had
She
done.
was on Another World, I think.
Well, she was on As the World Turned.
Oh, As the World Turns. Thank you. Okay.
But I think she also did a couple episodes of Days of Our Lives. I'm not sure.
I guarantee you, when the broadcast catches up with the chat, they'll let us know.
Yeah.
For sure.
They will definitely let us know.
chats are-
It's great because I mean Clifton
Oh, yeah,
Davis.
She's amazing.
She played Judge Weston
Oh well, there you go, Judge
Days.
Weston.
on Days.
Was she married to Clyde? Clyde Weston. Oh my goodness. I don't. I was gonna say something. Now it's gone because I wanted to do a Clyde Weston accent. And now I can't remember what I was gonna
Well,
say.
I will just say that I watched Tamara on As the World Turns for many years, and I never, worked with her on As the World Turns. I did one episode of As the World Turns as a director, and got an opportunity to work with many of the people. But and that was such an amazing show, and she was really one of the standout people on that show. So
Oh, that's
I
so
was joking with her that she is the Helen Wagner of Beyond the Gates. And Helen Wagner, of course, was the matriarch of As the World Turns, who had been on the show since its beginning to the end. And so, Tamara is the 21st century Helen Wagner for,
oh,
thousands of young people will grow up watching the Gates and they will think of her as Grandma
oh.
Anita.
They will.
I'm love her from Law and Order SVU.
Yeah, right.
Her elegance, the way she carries herself and her elegance
Oh
and the way
gosh.
she comes across in her character, she reminds me a lot of Diane Carroll from Dynasty.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm.
Good Dynasty references in there. Good. Just it's good to have a nostalgic feeling to something that you remember loving when watching
Yeah,
something new.
familiarity
It's
is
great.
awesome.
It's super awesome. And I want to say that is one of the biggest strengths that I think that Beyond the Gates has presented in its first week is how easily familiar the audience has been able to get with this show. It feels like it's been on for just as long as the other ones,
Well, that's wonderful.
and it hasn't been. So
I have the Clifton Davis trivia question answered.
oh,
I believe he did according to Wikipedia.
all
so
right.
he did 2 episodes of A World Apart,
Oh, I never heard of it.
1971.
That was the As the World Turns spinoff,
Okay.
but it was a prime time spinoff.
Oh, well, there you go then. No daytime then.
No
It was
daytime
on
at all.
twice a week, and they took the character of Lisa, Eileen Fulton, and moved her out of Oakdale into another city where she had a storyline for about, I don't know, a couple months. And on that show, I think she played with an actor named Nicholas Coster, who later came back to As the World Turns after that with her, and he was Lionel on Santa Barbara.
Oh, yes.
It's all connected in the great circle of soaps,
All
everybody.
connected.
It is.
It's all connected. It's never not. It's an unbroken chain of soaps because people have been on every show. They've had friends who have on every show. They went to the gym with famous actors who were then on the show, like Dick Van Dyke. So it's just everything's connected. It's like playing 7 Degrees to Kevin Bacon, but it's
And
7
Kevin
degrees.
Bacon was on Guiding Light, so
And
it's
so
Right,
it's just
exactly.
on Guiding
He
Light.
I just know he played a teen alcoholic, right?
It's true.
There you go.
Oh my gosh. Thank you both for joining us here live on 10th Floor Podcasts to have this little soap party, talking about soaps, having a little just chit chat with friends. It was good. It was good. And to celebrate the debut of Beyond the Gates and thank you, Phideaux, for giving them your talent.
Well, I'm just honored to be a part of it. It's an incredible group of people, and I'm so fortunate to be spending my time with them during this launch of the show.
That's awesome.
Exciting.
I'm ready to move to Atlanta if they need a crazy white lady.
We all hope that we'll get some crossover from CBS on our show.
Uh-huh.
Victor Newman or
Yeah. Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
would.
Write your letters, folks. Send your emails and send your polite
Forrester
tweets.
Fashions, they're a fashion house where our show's all about fashion.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah.
Damon Dupree, and Chelsea could go to Los Angeles to launch a purse line or
Oh,
something
yeah.
on the bowling.
Oh, yes.
Well, I just want to say it's great to talk about all of this and just congrats to every person that put any kind of little fingerprint on getting Beyond the Gates off the ground and that's keeping it going. It's a huge accomplishment, and the press involved that has been received by this show is like incredible. incredible. The thing that made me most happy, this is so silly, but so many people don't know what soap operas are. And so I feel like that the Entertainment Tonight program like really explained that, and how like soap started because Procter and Gamble sponsored them, and Procter and Gamble is now sponsoring this. Because when I say soaps to people, I know so many young people don't, and when I say young, I'm talking 20 and 30-year-olds don't even know what they are. And I say it's the Real Housewives. Those are your soap operas now. Okay. It's kind of nice that people are like, oh, that's what that is. Oh yeah, those are
People
cool
now, especially young people, they're not used to just sort of turning on the television and watching whatever's there.
Exactly.
We didn't, Matthew won't know this, but we didn't even have VCRs. If you wanted to see Ryan's Hope, you had to be there at 12:30 on the East Coast,
Yeah, which is why Soap Opera Digest was so popular, because you could get it and read what had happened. And it was so important to get it after summer. You had to go get it every week because you were in school and didn't have the VCR.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I had mine sent to the house. I had my soap opera sent to the house along with a TV guide.
Love the TV guide.
Yes, I remember receiving those publications to the house. I didn't subscribe because I was a child, but I remember reading them. I remember reading the comings and goings on Soap Opera Digest every single week to find out who was coming and going from All My Children, because that was the show I cared about.
Technology's great because we can do this, but I miss physical magazines.
I miss not being spoiled well before the show happens, like honestly. So I would love to get back to that.
Well, yeah, it's true.
That's another cool thing about Beyond the Gates. Like, everything's going to be a surprise for us.
It's going to be great.
I know
it's
exciting.
And I think the fact that they're in Atlanta and not, filming, is going to keep things a little more on the down low.
Yes, I agree with that entirely. And been filming since November, and we knew nothing about anybody ahead of time except for what came out in the press is an accomplishment. So
I think so too.
Just kicking butt in every field. Beyond the Gates.
Hey, Beyond the Gates.
Hey.
So,
Soaps.
can I show off my shirt?
Absolutely, yeah.
I didn't know my
Salem U shirt.
Salem U alumni.
Heck yeah.
I love that.
Because Connie went to Salem U. She actually has dialogue that says that. I didn't make that up.
Of course she did.
All right, well, folks, follow everybody on social media. It's their names, so it's easy. Stay apprised with what everybody's up to, their work and projects and accomplishments. Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate it to both of you. You didn't have to, and you chose to give some of your time to us here on the 10th floor, and I am beyond grateful. And as is the chat, it's been going off the whole time. Everybody having a wonderful time, just living in Soapland with us for this last hour.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll do it again. I'm thinking, since we're coming up to the Days of Our Lives anniversary, I'm thinking of trying my best to hook some Days people to have ourselves a little Days-a-thon here on the channel.
I can help with that.
Yeah, a little half hour with Julie, followed by a little half hour with whoever else wants to come just talk about Days for a little bit on some random day.
Be great.
I'm going to see what I can.
Eric Martzoff. Give him my regards.
We will do our best. We'll do our best. So
I almost killed Galen on the show.
Oh.
Super fun. It's led to so many problems for his character.
I almost want to kill Galen off of passion sometimes, but
He's the best. They're great.
Well,
oh my gosh, we could talk all day. I love it.
Subscribe to the channel, like the video, give everybody a follow on social media. Thank you for joining us. We will be back. Mom and I will be back next Sunday to talk about Days of Our Lives at 9, General Hospital at 11, and who knows who's going to pop onto this channel randomly like these two. So, that's it. Go spend some time with your family. Swing for the fences. I've been Matt. What's up, Mom?
I've been Kat, and we'll have a third show next week.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Beyond the Gates exclusively in great detail, just Mom and I. I should mention. So join us again at 1:30 again or whatever. Just pay attention. Just pay attention and click around on the thing. You'll find us. We're not hard to find. Okay, that's it. Subscribe, like. That's been Julie Dove. That's been Phideaux Xavier. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.